welcome to BIMS TV. I'm Robin Garcia, and this is BIMS Bites. And today I'll be biting into Eastern oyster ecology. The eastern oyster, Chrysostra virginica, is a bivalve that is found on the eastern coast of North and South America, from the Gulf of St. Lawrence in Canada to the Gulf of Mexico and continuing south to Argentina. They are found in marine and brackish waters and are a well-known species in areas such as the Chesapeake Bay in the United States. Eastern oysters are sessile, meaning that they don't move once they settle onto a firm bottom. Mature oysters spawn or release eggs and sperm into the water column. The sperm fertilize the eggs, which develop into larval trochophores with hair-like cilia for traveling throughout the water column. They continue to develop into veliger larvae with a shell and a foot for moving around on the hard bottom. Pediveliger larvae have a well-developed foot and eye spots to help find a suitable location to settle. Finally, spat have settled and attached to the hard bottom. Larval oysters often settle onto adult oysters, building large oyster reefs. Oyster reefs provide many ecological and economic benefits. Oyster reefs serve as a habitat and shelter for other species, including birds, crabs, and commercially important fish species. They also improve water quality through filter feeding. A single oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water in one day. The improved water quality controls the amount of algae and sediment in the water and allows for more sunlight for other important species, such as seagrasses. Eastern oysters themselves are an important fishery species, particularly along the mid-Atlantic and southern regions of the United States. They also buffer the coastline from waves and flooding, reducing damage to coastal infrastructure. Unfortunately, all species of oysters and oyster reefs have greatly decreased in number and size due to diseases, habitat destruction, overfishing, and climate change. According to the Nature Conservancy, nearly 85% of oyster reefs have been lost worldwide in the last century. However, there are efforts to restore oyster reefs. Seasonal closures and catch limits control how many oysters can be harvested. There are programs that recycle oyster shells from restaurants to be reintroduced to the coastline for spat to attach to. Other materials, such as concrete, are also introduced into the coastline to create artificial reefs for spat to attach to. Finally, addressing climate change will ultimately help restore oyster reefs and other important coastal ecosystems. So, if you're lucky enough to visit an oyster reef or enjoy an oyster at a restaurant, take a moment to be grateful for all that oysters provide and consider what you can do to protect this amazing species. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please feel free to follow up with me using one of these outlets listed here. Finally, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to Black and Marine Science and continue learning with us through BIMS Bites.